It is November 18th, and once again, markets moved lower today. And once again, we had an afternoon rally. I would say do not let the afternoon rally trick you. One thing we learned today is we are most definitely in a daily downtrend. Take a look. We went from highs to a lower low to a lower high. Now we have a lower low, which confirms what we basically already knew. We're definitely in a downtrend. So, despite the afternoon rally, today signals to me we're even more bearish. Going forward, looking at SPY, even if we do something like this, when we get back here, I would be looking for, what do you think? Another daily lower high to come back down, something like this, right? And once we get below this level here, that opens up the door for a lot more trouble because that's just a major level of support on this chart. The weekly chart has four bottoms right there. So once we break that, we're opening up the door for more trouble. Obviously, NVDA earnings is coming up. Obviously, we're supposed to be getting economic data. So those things could absolutely change the outlook of the market. They could maybe cause this move for us just to come up and get a lower high and then come back down. I think that the trend is what we want to look at. Even if we get buying activity when those things come, let's pay attention to what levels it takes us to, either to the downside or the upside. Um, so that's that for the SPY chart. I mean, that's basically a path I would be looking at if it played out. I'm not really trying to trade SPY too much, so I'm just going to move on to some charts with better trades. Okay, we're looking at the IWM daily chart here. Something we've been talking about for a while is there's thin structure down here below 232. Got all this overhead supply above us. So what I'm looking for, let me just knock it down to the hourly. What I am looking for on the IWM is possibly something like this, any lower highs below 231.94, or I would also be open to something like this, something like that as well. So if and when we get a lower high below 231.94, or we come up and reject this 237.20 level, I would be looking to get short at those points. Moving on, erase this. Let's take a look at the Robinhood chart. On Robinhood, see if we can see the left over here. Yeah, you can see there's all this thin structure and gaps over to the left-hand side. I'm also open to trading this a couple different ways, depending on how it plays out. My preferred way would be it would get up above this 116.60 level, come back in, get a lower high, catch it short right there, and try to catch a trade for something like this. I'd also be open to it coming all the way up to 120.50, catching a rejection from sellers and going down. And my least preferred way, but still open to it, lower high below 113.75, something like this. I mean, obviously the first target would be the top of the gap. And if we can get into the gap, targeting the gap close. Let's take a look at Meta. On Meta, if we can open up somewhere near this 604 level, come up and reject it, and sellers pick it back up. And what I mean by sellers pick it up is we get like an inverted handle, can't an inverted hammer candle. The next candle doesn't break the high of that candle, and when it breaks the low, getting short on it, if I see an increase in volume, like extra volume on that candle, and the market's moving down, then I'd probably be interested in shorting just back down to this low 586.50. Let's take a look at AMD. Let's take a look at the daily chart. All right, as you can see, we kind of been holding this 226.35 level. It's a pretty major level. So on this trade, we'd really have to definitively lose the level in order to get involved. Um, so what I'd be looking for, move down, pull back up, sellers pick it up, it rejects, and then come back down. And then, possibly depending on the situation, holding runners, it looks like there's a gap down there, but most likely I'm running whenever we hit that 50 SMA. So there's at the 20. Let's take a look. Regardless of which one it is, I'm running when we hit it. It's either the 20 or the 50. All right, next, take a look at Microsoft. Okay, on Microsoft, let's take a look at we're on the daily chart. We have some thin structure kind of right here below this 488.75 level down to 480.50. So what I'm looking for here is a path to trade that. Probably looking for, sorry, I'm trying to get my pencil here. Probably looking for something like this. Stop being above this high, entry being here, target being down here, something like that. Trying to see if there's any other method for possibly taking this trade. Let me look back at the daily chart. I mean, we could get rally rejections off this 506.25 level. I mean, if it did rally there and sellers picked it back up, possibly picking it up short there. Next one I want to take a look at is IBM. IBM, you could see all this thin structure over here, major thin structure. All right. So what I'd be looking for here is the primary way to get involved, coming up and rejecting this level or looking above it and failing it. Something like that, getting short on that. catching a lower high here and possibly running when I hit this 50 SMA. Just kind of depends on the conditions of the market at the time. But if we can look above this and fail or rally and reject this, be looking to short. First target, second target being this EMA, SMA. Next, let's take a look at Tesla. This is an idea that has been pretty much coming up over and over and over again, just has not played out yet. On Tesla, just looking for a lower high below 396.70, maybe cutting some of it at 388.25 and then continuing down. I need to switch the mouse so I can move the chart down. And then that moves my drawing. So let me remove the drawing. Let's do this over. All right, so lower high below 396.70. Respecting this 386.25, not a major level, but buyers could pick it up there, lower high below that. And then targeting 365. 365 is an excellent spot for buyers to pick it back up, double bottom, something like that. Looking to go back long on that. Let's take a look at JCI, Johnson Controls, I think. Uh, to look at the chart so I can remember what I was looking at here. All right, there's a gap below. All right, so there's a gap below and this is a big gap that's been filling day after day. It was way up here. It's just been heading down. It lost this previous high. Looks like a lower high is forming below that previous high. So one method would be a rally rejection of this, catching it short, targeting this, lower high below this, targeting the low, lower high below that, targeting the gap fill. Or it could just be straight up continuation, lower high. I specifically marked lower high below 113.85 instead of the top of the gap, just because these levels over here. So lower high below 113.85, targeting that gap close. And the one trade I can see for the long side, Google. I mean, Google's had great relative strength through all this selling. It's held this bounce area. So if, let's say the market is in buyer mode, right? And it's running up looking for that lower high. A great place to look, since Google has relative strength, if that happens, would be if we could get above this 291.65, catch a higher low, target this overnight all-time high way up here at 299. That is all I've got for today. Like, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff for daily or semi-daily trade ideas, technical analysis, strategy review, all kinds of different stuff. Have a good one. I'm out.